People, I'm back. My damn camera had cut off on my ass. I wasn't finished. Like I was saying, whenever people draw heavy comparisons to Jerry Rice and Randy Moss, they always choose Jerry Rice because he has 3 Super Bowls. He almost won 4, but he has 3, and to this day, Randy Moss don't have no championships. Now let's talk about Chad Johnson, aka Ocho Cinco, the man who just loves to be in the spotlight. Like Terrell Owens, Chad Johnson himself loves being in the spotlight. He loves the attention. He loves the praise. He loves that when he runs into the end zone, that he loves when people chant his name. In fact, when he started messing with who from Basketball Wives, that's when his NFL performances, in my opinion, in actual fact, that's when I believe Chad Johnson's ability to play on the football began to decrease, began to go down, if you know what I mean. And after 7 years of him winning football games for the Bengals, this was not the same football player. He started to move slow. He started to get hurt a lot on the football field. His number productions began to slowly drop down. I mean, it's true that Chad Johnson has more catches and more throws than Randy Moss has, but it doesn't compare that Randy Moss has won more football games and has been in the playoffs for 10 years, where Chad Johnson, he only made the playoffs only 2 or 3 times in his whole entire NFL career. And he himself has played on some of the same football teams that Randy Moss has been a part of. At one point, Chad found himself playing for the Miami Dolphins and then got cut. He was with the New England Patriots, got cut, and then he ended up with some other football teams and got cut. And for 7 or 8 years, Chad Johnson was going to be the guy that you could look up to as a wide receiver. And like I said, after 7 or 8 years of success in the NFL, the rest of his career was just terrible. All of a sudden, he couldn't catch the football. All of a sudden, he couldn't get into the end zone. All of a sudden, he had problems trying to perform at a high level. And ever since he met that basketball wife, he never was the same football player. And then once he tried to rebound back to his past glory, you could see that the writing was on the wall. He just was not the same NFL football player. And he always said that if he was ever given another chance to come back into the NFL, he would try to right some of these wrongs. They eventually let him come back into the NFL to finish the rest of his NFL career. But we want to remember him when he was in his prime, when he was in the first 5, 6, 7 years of his NFL career. We want to remember Chad Johnson as a force of nature. Remember those commercials where Chad Johnson's face would just pop up on TV and he would smile at you, and then he said, I had the most runs, the most catches, the most yards and rushes? Yeah, that might be true, but Randy Moss has won more football games. Randy Moss has been in the playoffs more and has won more playoff games. And if I had to choose a wide receiver during the days of me going to high school and college, I would choose Randy Moss over Chad Johnson any day. Now, people might say, well, Alex, Chad Johnson only went to the playoffs, only had 2 or 3 playoff games in his whole entire football career, but he ain't ever won a Super Bowl. Even when they took Terrell Owens and Chad Johnson and put them on the same football team, it still didn't make no difference. But you put Randy Moss on the Patriots, it improved their team. You put Randy Moss with the Raiders, it improves their team. He even makes players around him better. I know some people may say, okay, that's giving Randy Moss way too much credit. But I'm just trying to, explain myself in this video that I'd rather stick with a guy who's gone to the Super Bowl 2 or 3 times in his NFL career than a guy that's only been in the playoffs only 2 or 3 times and towards the end of his career had a meltdown. Chad Johnson's last 5 or 6 years in the NFL was a meltdown. Why Randy Moss stayed consistent throughout his NFL career, Chad's career began to melt. He began to have a meltdown of some kind. Now, you might say outside forces is the blame for it. Now, I'm not saying Randy Moss ain't never had no meltdown in his NFL career, but when Randy Moss did have an altercation or did have a meltdown, it didn't take too long for him to recover and bounce back and kick ass and take names. So who's better? I'm going to choose Randy Moss over Chad Johnson. Now, I'm sorry this video got broken into 2 parts. You know, I got to buy me a new SD card pretty soon. And we'll continue on with some more NFL videos. Until then, peace.